So the album for this week is it's been a long time coming. The album I'm talking about is My Bloody Valentine with Isn't Everything. The normal go-to is the Loveless album, but I think I've already done a video on that. But I just kind of recently kind of explored this again, and what an incredible album this is. So this was the debut album from My Bloody Valentine, which was released on the 21st November 1988 by Creation Records. Its innovative guitar and production techniques consolidated the experimentation of the band's preceding EPs. That's what I found text-wise. And it would make the album a pioneering work of the subgenre known as shoegaze. I mean, I was a massive fan of the shoegaze scene in the late 80s, early 90s, with people like Ride and My Bloody Valentine. And this was such a good album, and it is a really good album. Upon its release, the album received critical reviews, and I just remember reading about it everywhere, from the NME to the Melody Maker, you name it. And it did reach number one in the UK independent album charts. I got some more kind of chartings for this one. But at the time, in the band, you had Kevin Shield, who's just iconic on guitar and vocals. You have Belinda Butcher on guitar and vocals. You probably hear most of her vocals all over these tracks. I think she was deemed as the lead singer. Then you got Colm, I can never pronounce his word, on drums, and then you had Deb Googe on bass. And that's one thing I liked about this band at the time. That was one good thing about the kind of shoegaze scene at the time. It was a really good, the female band members were coming up forward instead of being stuck in the guitar at the back, or just as like a, you know, kind of side view on keyboard somewhere. They were like at the forefront now, and that's what I liked about the shoegaze scene, and especially the late 80s, early 90s kind of independent music scene as well. There's a lot more kind of girl groups, and you were better than most of the guys. Well done, you. So after the band's original vocalist, Dave Conway, left in 1987, replaced by Belinda, the band at first continued in their previous noisy indie pop style, because it did have a couple of singles out before this as well, which is quite noisy, which I absolutely loved. But Kevin Shields desired to return to the band's avant-garde roots and began to explore the possibilities offered by the studio facilities available after signing to Creation Records. The first fruit of this experimentation was the single EP You Made Me Realise, released in August 1988, and then obviously this album released a year later. I mean, if you know that track You Made Me Realise, it was insane. I remember just hearing that and just pumping up to maximum, and just like when those guitars all kick in, it's just that wall of sound. I don't think I've heard it on any record before or since, to be honest. That wall of sound. Even amongst that kind of wall of sound, there was melody in there. There was just layers and layers and layers within that. So if you haven't heard that track, go and check it out and crank it up to 10. Most of the album was recorded in a studio in Wales over a period of 2 weeks, and the band members slept about 2 hours a night. And and reading some of the interviews with them, this is why sometimes the vocals come across really kind of, because they were knackered. And sometimes they'll be just woken up on the spot, straight into the vocal booth, and you can kind of hear it on the album. And I think that's what makes the album, is that kind of feeling, that kind of naivety as well. On the outside, it seems as naive, but actually, it's very, very complicated. This album. I did have a band in in the early 90s, and I tried to kind of copy this sound, and it was so difficult. I studied this music. I studied what pedals they had. It was so hard. So well done to them. So it was released in the United Kingdom, as I said, on the 21st November 1988 on Creation Records. A limited edition of the first 5,000 vinyl copies included a bonus 7-inch single featuring 2 instrumental tracks, and they were just both entitled Instrumental 1, Instrumental 2. I've never heard that. I've never come across that. So that is going to be on my want list. If anyone has it and they want to send me a copy, send me a message. Go, I want a copy of that. The B-side track featured Public Enemy drum loop from Security of the First World. The lead single, Feed Me With Your Kiss, was released in October 1988. Oh my God, that is an insane track. And again, they had another track called I Believe, Emptiness Inside, and I Need No Trust. Soft as Snow But Warm Inside was also released as a promotional single in the United States in December 1988. Neither of the singles charted at all. And that's what I like about this band, because they are an iconic band. So coming back to the album, so that was the information about this album, Isn't Anything. And I love the artwork. This kind of, to me, says everything about My Bloody Valentine. They were really kind of secretive, and if you ever seen them live, which I have, that there's nothing really to grip on. You just need to close your eyes and listen to that music. I love the artwork. I love the back, and then you got tracks like "Soft as Snow," as I said, "Warm Inside," "Losing My Breath," "Cupid Come," "No More Say," "All I Need," "Feed Me With a Kiss." "Feed Me With a Kiss" is probably my favourite on here. Nothing Much to Lose as well, I really like. But this is a gatefold. This one here is actually This is actually on MBV Records, so this came out quite recently. There has been reissues over the years, but this did come out on MBV Records via Domino Records. So this is quite a new version of this album, and I didn't have the original. I think I had it on CD at the time, but it comes with the gatefold, again with the imagery of the band itself, Kevin Shields and Belinda, Deb, all on the inside there, with nothing else, just the photo shoot. But this is one thing I do like about it. So normally inner sleeves are just white, but this one has got an inner sleeve, but you can almost see, it's almost like something's been stained, a photo's been stuck on it or something, and it's come off, it's got wet or something. You almost can see almost like a ghost image of the sleeve on here as well. And it's quite thick, it's almost like a plasticky as well. The vinyl inside is just normal black vinyl with the track titles and everything on it. And I just think for an album, it's definitely a reissue, and it's come out on MBV Records via Domino Records. I think they've done a good job with it. The pressing is really nice and solid, especially with tracks like "Feed Me With Your Kiss," where it's so noisy, you need to be able to control that level of noise. And they've managed to do it on this. And it's a great album. It's one of my favourite albums by My Beloved Valentine. Obviously, we've got Loveless, but I think that's the one that everyone goes to, so why not talk about the first album? I will be doing more on My Bloody Valentine, because they are definitely one of my kind of favourite bands. And when I'm feeling kind of dour and like angry, I put this on. It's brilliant. I love it. So it did reach number 61 in the UK album charts, but it did go to number 1 on the independent record charts. So it's just turned into an iconic album. If you haven't heard it, you don't have it. If all you know is Loveless, go and check this album out. My Bloody Valentine at best. And that isn't anything. Thank you.